This is the village of Tordouet in Normandy, France, and it's where my friends Tim and Jill Bannerman used to live with their family, and where they used to have an orchard, the orchard you can see right in the centre of the shot, and they used to make their own cider. They still make their own cider, good stuff it is too, in Herefordshire, but I filmed this 30 years ago when Tim and I were making a bit of a film. He was helping me make a film about cider making. I was concentrating on the Somerset side of things, but I went to Normandy to see Tim and his marvellous old car, which he still owns, by the way. Well, they still own. I think it's an Austin Devon called Violet. And that's my little son, Harry, walking past. Anyway, all that's by the by, because we made this film and we ended it with Tim showing me a few techniques, bottling techniques, which he's about to share with us in this video.
Right, this is the great moment of the embouteillage. The moment that's taken some 2 months to reach since we pressed the apples, squirted the juice into the barrels, and now it's the moment for bottling, because the full moon has been and gone, and you should only bottle on a waning moon, otherwise your corks will shoot off and you'll lose half the cider in your bottles. So you take, first of all, a very beautiful green-blue bottle, which this happens to be, rather an old one, with a nice little pontle in the middle. You fill it with this golden juice here, which is at about a strength of, it's quite sweet still, 1021, 1022. Normally we'd wait until about 1016, 17. And we fill it. Voila. Frothing up nicely. So this is the cider that's come from the apples in our orchard. And when all this is done, we then have to wait until we hear the first cry of the cuckoo before we should, by rights, open it and burst it. There we are, one full bottle, or nearly full. You need to leave a little gap between that and the cork. Push it down into the corking machine. Take one cork, well swelled in the water beforehand. Now this is a proper cork, not one of those made-up jobs. Drop it in the hole, push down, et voila. One corked bottle, ready now for Master Joshua here to wire it. Because like champagne, if you don't wire these bottles, after a bit the gas will work in the bottle because the cider continues fermenting and you'll have a host of almighty explosions in the cellar. So these corks have all got to be wired with a champagne wire, which Joshua here is an expert in doing, having done many thousands of bottles now. So that's the basic cycle, and off we go again. Now this cider has been through about 3 barrels now, and we had a bit of a panic when we finally soutered, as it's called, which is the word for taking the cider from one barrel to another, which is how you take it off the lees and gradually clarify it to this beautiful, perfect state you see here, because one of the barrels developed what's known as a goo, or a taste. And tastes can be good, or they can be not so good, and we rather fear this might be not so good, but we're hoping that in the whole process of fermentation and so on, it will prove to be not as drastic as we hope. Or as we fear, rather. There we are, 2 down. When you really get going, you can actually have a team where you can employ most of the children in the village to fill the jugs and, first of all, put cider in your bottle before you put the cork in, otherwise it comes out as rather a flat squib. There we go. We'll need to refill the jug in a minute. But when you really get going, you can have a whole chain, because sometimes at one sitting we will bottle up to 500 bottles. which then have to stand overnight before we lie them down. Other people like to stand them up vertically and just stack them in vertical layers. And they say that way the cider itself keeps better in the bottle, but as we're using real Liège corks, the corks must be kept damp and in contact with the liquid at all times, otherwise the corks dry out and your cider will go funny. Of course, this is all very unfamiliar to your average Somerset cider drinker, apart from those lovers of Natch, because most of them will drink cider in the pub from the barrel. So people in the White Horse or the Luttrell Arms, Dunster, the old public bar that used to have the straw bale hanging up for some arcane reason, won't know this taste here, and it's rather different and very delicious. Right, now we fill up our champenoise, as they're called. These are the champagne bottles that we either get from farmhouses where they've lain for the God knows how long, and then we have to scrub them out, which takes forever. We get some amazing old bottles sometimes, which have wonderful names. Usually they're beautiful old champagne bottles, so you dream about what the champagne was like originally. Or they're old champagne bottles, cider bottles with names like Spum on them, which gives many moments of great hilarity to us humble cider washers. We take our Liège cork, beautiful corks, but they only have a life of 2 years. Stick it in the corking machine, which is really a corking machine, I must say. We got ours for about 16 quid, local supermarket. There we are. Take it out, and here, a beautiful corked bottle, which I shall now pass to my assistant Joshua, age 12, who's one of the finest wirers in the Pays d'Auge. There he goes.
And very good cider it was too, as I say. I used to enjoy our occasional visits across the Channel to France to see the Bannermans, and now enjoy seeing them when they come here to Somerset or we go to Herefordshire. Don't see enough of them. However, it's been great fun to have Tim doing the Cider Chronicles here on the website, and the good news is that he's about to begin a whole new series on, wait for it, orchids. There's nothing Bannerman doesn't know about an orchid, and I think the first of his series takes us to Africa, where he went hunting them down. Great adventurer is my pal Tim. So it's all wonderful to see this old footage from 30 years ago, and wonderful to carry on our relationship, our friendship, into this weird new lockdown world in which the digital technology helps us get by and keeps us informed and keeps us entertained, I hope. So I hope you've been watching this, and I hope you'll be reading more of Tim's Chronicles all about those beautiful flowers in the near future.